What's going on, everybody? Welcome to. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Today we're doing a ranking of all the antagonists in One Piece based off where I think they are power wise compared to each other. Um, so just get right into it. So we have 21 antagonists that I think. So I'll list them off. We have Alvida, Axhan Morgan, Buggy, Captain Kuro, Don Krieg, Arlong, Smoker, Wapple, Crocodile, Bellamy, NL, Foxy, Luchi, Gecko Moria, Magellan, the Admirals, the OG3 specifically, Hody Jones, Caesar Clown, Flamingo, Big Mom, and Kaido. So those are our 21 antagonists slash villains that we're going to be ranking, and we'll be sorting them into four categories, four tiers. I assume everyone knows what a tier list is. The closer they are to the left, the more powerful I think they are inside of their ranks. And yeah, so I'll go down what the four tiers are. So our top tier is fought 15 people while making an island fly and kept going with no problem, all while being drunk. So that's, I think, a pretty self-explanatory tier. I don't think anyone will have any problem guessing who's going to be in that tier. And then below that we have the could probably beat everyone else on the list tier for people who I think could probably beat everyone else on the list. Then we have under that we have could probably take a hit or two and be okay. That's our next tier. So another self-explanatory tier. I tried to make the titles of these tiers as self-explanatory as I possibly could. And then in the bottom we have my brother in Christ, what are you even doing with your life? For people who should, antagonists who really should probably just question what they're doing with themselves and what they're spending their lives doing. So we're just going to jump right in. I'll put down some obvious ones that you can guess where they're going to be. So first we have Kaido, probably the strongest person we've seen in the story, just straight up. He's going at the top in the fought 15 people while making an island fly and getting and keeping going with no problem, all while drunk tier. Custom made for him. He's the strongest person we've seen in the story so far. He'll probably be the strongest person we see in the story, and he just has insane feats of durability and strength. He's beaten Luffy 4 times at the current moment, and in chapter 1049 it's looking like he might be defeated, but I'm personally of the belief that he's going to get back up and start using his awakening on Luffy now. So there goes Kaido, and as well Big Mom also going in that tier, but below Kaido. She's insanely durable. She has lost at this point in the story, but she went through all of Whole Cake Island, which had an assassination plot on her, with only getting a scraped knee. Until she fought Law and Kid directly on the live floor or outside the castle or wherever it was, she hadn't actually taken any damage in the entire raid in Onigashima. She's just insanely durable, really strong. Fought Kaido for 5 days, I believe. So they're obviously relative to each other. Also, they're Yonko, so that already puts them as relative to each other. And yeah, so that's why I believe Big Mom should also be in that tier. So from there, we'll just start going through them in the actual order of where they appear in the story, which is where it's actually ordered. Although I will set out, Axhan Morgan is the weakest person on the list. I don't think that requires much explanation. He's just, as I say, my brother in Christ, what are you even doing with your life? That's Axhan Morgan's tier. He thought he was superior, and he lost to Zoro after 21 days of having no food at all. So he's very weak. Next we'll go to Alvida is going in, could probably take a hit or two and be okay, thanks to the devil fruit she has, the Suki Suki no Mi, I think. attacks and stuff just slide off of her. Obviously, Haki is going to change that, but I still think she'd easily beat all the people who I'm going to put below her, which is a couple of people. Um, so next we have Buggy. I am personally of the belief that I know Buggy is a big meme. I was going to do a tier above the tier that Kaido and Big Mom are in called Limitless Power and put Buggy in that because, you know, Buggy is the future Pirate King. But unironically, I do believe, besides Smoker, Buggy is probably the strongest antagonist in the East Blue saga because, like, what antagonist is beating him? Like, I know people will probably say, "Oh, Arlong," but Arlong can't do any. Like, what's Arlong going to do to him? Like, bite him? His teeth will just segment Buggy's body. Like, he can't do anything to him, you know? So that's why I'm putting Buggy there. So next up we have Kuro, who is going in the My Brother in Christ, what are you even doing with your life tier? Pretty self-explanatory. Spent 3 years pretending to be a butler so he could rob Usopp's girlfriend. What's her face? I can't even remember. And then failed, like, pretty easily because Luffy headbutted him. Like, yeah. He also, his big, like, threatening technique was moving so fast that he couldn't see what he was doing. Like, not exactly something that's very worrying. Next up, we have Don Krieg, who's also going in the My Brother in Christ, what are you even doing with your life tier? Don Krieg is not strong. His whole thing was just weapons. I feel like anyone could take him down pretty easily, with no problems, besides Axhan Morgan and Captain Kuro. I feel like they're the only two who he could actually beat out of everyone in the story. So next up we have Arlong, who is going up here after Buggy. As I said, I unironically think Buggy is the strongest villain in the East Blue besides Smoker, because let's face it, Buggy, like, Arlong isn't doing anything to Buggy. I've already said it, but, like, what's Arlong gonna do? Like, he doesn't have hockey, so he can't, like, do anything to him. Buggy could just, like, fly his hands around with knives and stay out of range of Arlong and just repeatedly stab him. So I'm putting Buggy over for that reason alone. Next up we have Smoker, who is going above them, because as I said, I do believe Smoker is the strongest antagonist in the East Blue, pretty easily. And then as the story progresses, he is growing at the same, not at the same rate, but he is growing along with the Straw Hat Pirates. So, like, he's currently a Vice Admiral, isn't he? He's either a Vice Admiral or a Rear Admiral, but, like, I think at the end of the story, Smoker will be one of the new admirals. I think himself, and I don't think Kobe will be. I think Kobe will end the series as a Vice Admiral, but yeah, Smoker for sure I think will be an Admiral at the end of the series. So even with his future potential, he's up there, you know? And next we have Wapple, who I am putting below Alvida, so he'll be at the bottom of the could probably take a hit or two and be okay tier. I do think he's pretty weak. He's actually a step down. It's just the fact that Luffy, like, it's the circumstances that led to the fight actually lasting more than 5 seconds. Like, as we saw before Drum Kingdom, they actually came across him in the water and Luffy was able to knock him off the boat with no effort at all. So I think the only reason the fight lasted more than like 2 seconds when he came back to the Drum Kingdom was because Luffy was basically dead like minutes earlier. I think that's the only thing that stands to him. But yeah, so that's where I'm putting Wapple. Next up we have Crocodile, who I am putting above all of them. Crocodile's pretty strong. We'll see as we go on where I actually place him on the tier list, because I do believe he's actually a lot stronger than you'd have him think based off where he shows up in the story, because he's so early. He is probably one of the best Devil Fruit users we've actually seen in the series in terms of proficiency with their Devil Fruit. He's up there with Luffy. He's up there with I'm trying to think of other people. Kaido, he's up there with Doflamingo and Katakuri. I think they're the top six of like proficiency in use. Obviously, Whitebeard we didn't get to see use his Devil Fruit properly because he couldn't use it properly in Marineford because he didn't want to kill all the people around him. But I do think Crocodile, like, he is probably the best user of a Logia we've seen in the series, like in terms of proficiency with their fruit. He trained himself so his fruit will just automatically turn his body to sand without him even needing to think about it or anything because it just became muscle memory for him. So that's a level of proficiency that I don't think any other Logia user has actually had in the series. So for that reason, I'm putting Crocodile up there. As I said, we'll see as time goes on where he actually ends up being. I know where he'll end up being, but other people will too. So next we have Bellamy. Okay, I'm putting Bellamy above Buggy. Yeah, I know, pretty on the nose. He's in the could probably take a hit or two and be okay tier, and he can only ever get one hit by Luffy outside of his gears. But I do think Bellamy actually beats like everyone below him because like Bellamy's fruit was the inspiration for Gear Second. He can build up a load of momentum and hit people really hard. It's just he was a bad matchup with Luffy, you know. So I do think Bellamy gets a lot less respect than he deserves. And also, as we saw in the Dressrosa Corrida Coliseum, he's actually quite strong. Like, besides getting knocked out in one hit, he can actually fight. And for that reason, I put him in the middling of that tier, I'd say. So next up, we have Enel. I put him over Crocodile for one simple reason. Enel would turn Crocodile to glass. Like, I do think Crocodile is a better user of his fruit. I do think Crocodile would beat more people in fights than Enel because he's smarter. But I think Enel wins that matchup just by virtue of the fact that his lightning would turn Crocodile into glass. No other reason. That's why I'm putting Enel there. He's also a lot stronger than a lot of these other people. And he has very strong observation hockey as well. So, you know, he gets his respect for that. Foxy, I put at the top of the My Brother in Christ tier because he beats all of them just by virtue of the fact that he slows them down and, you know, can fight them. But anyone with any ability or power or anything, he loses to just 10 times out of 10. So I'm putting Foxy in the My Brother in Christ tier for that reason. Next we have Luchi. Put him at the top of the probably take a hit or two tier. We haven't seen Luchi post time skip. We know he has armament and observation hockey. We know he's, you know, gotten stronger because he's in CP0. We know that he is a strong person already. But at the same time, he's obviously not scaled as much as Luffy has, as much as people want to be like, oh, Luchi versus Luffy part 2. He's not on that level. He is strong, but I don't think he's as strong as people hype him up to be. He was definitely the strongest person that Luffy encountered up to that point pre-time skip, but at this point in time, he's been overshadowed, we'll say. So next up we have Moria, who I am putting slightly above Smoker. Very slightly above Smoker. I do think Crocodile beats Moria. I do think that Enel beats Moria. I do think that Moria being a tough villain for after Luchi was solely down to the fact that he had the perfect circumstances. Before Luffy and stuff knew what was going on, he had stolen their shadows, so they had like a very awkward situation to be in. He had 900 people on his island or something, and he had oars. You know, he's not strong. His crew was, in a way. Also, the fact that they were zombies really helped. And, yeah, so that's why I'm putting him there. That's why I'm putting him above Smoker, I will say. But I do think Crocodile would beat him, like, just straight up. So next we have Magellan going up in the could probably beat everyone else on the list tier. Yeah, Magellan does not get the respect he deserves. Honestly, I think Magellan could take down Big Mom or Kaido because of the fact that how his fruit works. His poison fruit is one of the strongest fruits we've seen in the series. He's very strong. If he didn't spend 20 hours a day or whatever it is on the toilet, he'd be insanely powerful. He'd be a top tier combatant for the Marines if he did. He beats everyone below him, no doubt. He could possibly beat everyone above him. And that's why I'm putting some respect on Magellan. He's one of the strongest villains in the entirety of One Piece, antagonists even. So next we have the OG3 Admirals. I put them over Magellan. They're stronger. They are, I'm sorry. The OG3 are, I would say, up there. Like, people want to be like, oh, Admiral level is below Yonko level. But I honestly think the original 3 Admirals of not Fujitori. Kizaru, Akainu, and Aokiji. I do think the 3 of them would be able to go toe-to-toe with the Yonko. Not 3v4, but like 1v1. I do think they'd be able to go toe-to-toe with them. I think the only reason that they would not be able to win against the Yonko is because they don't have Advanced Conquerors Hockey, because none of them have Conquerors. I do think they are the strongest non-Conquerors users in the series, besides Blackbeard, and I do think for that reason that they are at the top of the could probably beat everyone else on the list here. Next we have Hody. I put him above Moria, below Crocodile. He doesn't have Hockey, so he wouldn't be able to beat Crocodile or NL, or Smoker for that matter, but at the same time, he'd beat Moria, he would beat Bellamy, and he'd beat everyone below them. So for that reason, I'm putting Hody here. Basically, just a racist who uses steroids. Yeah, not a great character, but stronger than these antagonists, I will say. Next, we have Caesar. I'm actually might catch flack for this. I'm saying he could probably beat everyone else on the list here. Same reason as Magellan. Caesar has an insanely strong devil fruit. Like, his control of gases, it's insanely strong. It's a Logia type. But also, on top of that, he's like... I know he's portrayed as a bit of a dumbass in the story, but he is a genius level chemist. So, like, he can synthesize chemicals that could instantly kill anyone in his vicinity. Like, I know he's afraid of Big Mom and stuff, but if he really wanted to, he could probably beat her, like, in a fight. If he was not a dumbass. Like, his knowledge of chemistry is enough that his fruit is perfect for him. He would absolutely be able to beat everyone else on the list just by virtue of the fact that he could probably sneak up on them, considering he can turn himself into oxygen. Yeah, for that reason alone, Caesar Clown is going at the bottom of the could probably beat everyone else tier list. Tier. And Doflamingo, I am putting slightly above him. Doflamingo, very strong. Obviously, probably one of the strongest villains we're going to see that isn't a Yonko in the series. But also, like, Awakened Devil Fruit, Conqueror's Hockey, and, like, the power over the world government that he held was just so powerful. Then you have, like, the birdcage and stuff like that being added into the mix. He was just so powerful for the point in the story we were at, and it took 2 bouts of Gear 4th Hockey, or Gear 4th, for Luffy to actually beat him after Law had gamma knifed him, and he was holding himself together, like his internal organs, with strings, and it took all of that to beat him. He is insanely durable, which is a feat that I feel like a lot of people kind of ignore for him. He got hit by a Red Hawk after getting gamma knifed as well. Like, he withstood so much. And for that reason, I'm putting him in the... And also, I don't think he'd have any trouble beating anyone below him on the list. For that reason, I'm putting him in the... Could probably beat everyone else on the list here. And with that, we're actually done the tier list. Yeah, so I'll run it through it quickly. At top, we have Kaido, then we have Big Mom, then we have the Admirals, then Magellan, then Doflamingo, then Caesar Clown, then Luchi, then NL, then Crocodile, then Hordy Jones, then Moria, then Smoker, then Bellamy, then Buggy, then Arlong, then Alvida, then Wapple, then Foxy, then Don Krieg, then Kuro, then Morgan. That's the order that I believe the antagonists of One Piece fall into. If you disagree, leave a comment down below. If you like the video, drop a like. Subscribe for more One Piece content if you like One Piece, if you want more One Piece content. And I'll see you next time. Peace.